It is back to school time for kids and the beginning of school for the little ones just starting the process. A challenging time for parents. Here to help you make your way through it is Steve Margeotes, PhD and a licensed professional counselor. Steve, thanks for coming back and
Brian, nice to be here.
Lending some insight for parents. Of course,
my pleasure.
You know, this is a tough time, especially for moms. You're letting the little ones go for the first time. That separation anxiety has got to be difficult. How do you get around that?
The key, Brian, is you have to be confident. They have the jitters, they're nervous, they're away from home, and you have to portray confidence. Even if you don't feel confident, you have to come across as confident.
So what you exude, your kid's going to pick up.
Exactly. Their experience in school is not going to be your experience in school. You got to remember that. This is a whole different time, different person, different school. You need to be on your game. You have to come across as being confident, as being organized. You have to be a manager.
When you say a manager, is it more or less organizing all of the activities or expressing to your youngster, okay, this is what we're going to do during the course of the day? I mean, does it get that specific, or do you just go in with an overall, hey, I know this is a good thing, you'll be fine?
I would be specific, and I'd be even more specific. I make lists. I do daily lists. I would do monthly lists. I think you need to not only be organized, but you need to show them how to be organized. You're teaching them life skills. So I think that the more that you could come across with a game plan for those kids, they're going to see it's about modeling. So if you're organized and you come across on top of all the details, back to school night, this project, school money, homework, if they see you on top of it, it's going to relieve their anxiety, because they're going to be anxious, and they should be. It's their first time away, no matter what grade they're in.
And let me ask you something that I had to go through with one of my kids was the blankie. The little things that the kids kind of carry along with them, their little security devices. Do you take those away, or how do you separate them from that?
See, I don't know if it's so bad to hold on to some of that stuff, you know, because they are going away from home for the first time. So for them to have a picture, for them to have some type of security device that they could turn to, I don't think that's so bad, because they are separated. For them, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours is a long time. Yeah. So the more we can reassure them in different ways, why not?
Is it a good idea, bad idea for parents to show up at school? Because this is something that the school administrators kind of frown on sometimes.
I would let the school administrators do their job, and I would let the kids do their job. So at this point, now you're going to be in the school. I think the best thing for the kid is that come 3 o'clock, I will be there. Come 2:30, I will be there, and have that routine. I will bring you in the morning, I will pick you up in the afternoon. But I think during the day, they need to be reassured they're going to be safe. And then from there, let them be a student at that point, not a child.
Are there, perhaps for those who may have a week or two before school actually starts, are there things you can do to prepare your kid? Maybe scheduling or some kind of mock a trial, so to speak.
I would do a couple things. I would go to the school, you know, and I would, you know, drive you to school, walk you to school. Here's the building. This is the door you're going to go in. This is what it's going to be. I'm going to drop you off at 8:15. At 2:30, I'm going to pick you up. I would go through it, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. So then when the day actually comes, this is just what we talked about. Now, today is the day. Here's the school. Here's the door we were talking about. I think the less surprises, the better.
You know, there's a popular YouTube video going around where the mom walks the kids out to the bus stop, and she's dancing. And I wonder if that, you know, if that conveys the wrong message to kids, that you're too happy that they're going to school.
Exactly. You know, you need to show concern. You need to show maturity, that this is a big step in the process of parenting. You have to act appropriate, so the kids will act appropriate.
Well, let's talk about appropriate and what's not appropriate.
I think you got to be an adult. I think you can't be a student again. I think you got to be a role model. I think what you got to do for those kids is lead them. You got to be a leader, you know, and you got to lead them through this process. And you need to reassure them that we can get through this. And it's going to be stressful.
Is there a fine line between promoting independence and saying you can do this and pulling back too much?
Exactly. You know, I think you got to read your kid, and each parent knows their kids. So you got to read them. Sometimes they'll need more reassurance with this task. Maybe on this task they need less. So you got to be able to read them and see what they need when there's a school trip, or when there's a group project, or something where they need more parental involvement. And then other times it might be, I'm fine. then I trust you at your word, and I'm fine with this activity. So you got to have a good sense of who your kids are.
Good idea, bad idea to employ siblings, perhaps older siblings?
Depends.
In the process.
It depends, as long as it doesn't steal from the siblings. You don't want the older siblings then to be in that position where they're this mini parent and then they get ripped off.
Oh, interesting.
So if they don't mind to a degree and it doesn't jam them, it's one thing. But if you rely too much on the siblings, take care of them, bring them home, this type of thing, then you might have problems down the line with them because they're getting ripped off and their time as a student gets shortchanged.
Wow. Do you find that a big,
Yes.
that becomes a big issue with
Particularly
older?
in one-parent homes. And part of that's a practical thing. There's just not enough availability and time. But it's a fine balance, and it's really careful that you don't have the older ones in having a backlash against the younger kids as well. I have to take care of you. And then they grow up too fast, and they learn to be too self-sufficient too quickly.
And then perhaps there's a domino effect. They take that out against the younger
Absolutely.
sibling. Interesting
And then the
stuff.
younger one who can't make sense of it blames themselves.
And then they end up in your office.
Then
when
they end
they're
up in our
25 and
office.
30.
That's right. Absolutely.
Doctor, always a pleasure. Thanks for
Same
joining
here.
us. Look to
Thanks.
get more insight from you again soon.
Thank you.